What's happening? What is happening, Steeler family? Let me get the lights a little brighter. There we go. What's happening, Steeler Nation, man? Welcome to the latest episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, live from the virtual shore, Accra Shore, but I don't call it Accra Shore. It's the shore to me. But how's everybody doing? Let me wipe off any little crumbs I may have here. I just finished eating dinner. I'm always keeping it real and transparent with you guys. Hey, as well as until we get to free agency and things like that, this is going to be very slow. Very slow period. I'm going to try to give as much content as I can, but I'll be honest in saying that this is going to be a condensed show. Very condensed show. I'm not even going to put the timer up because I do not expect to go a full hour. I literally only have one topic, really. I have the phone lines open in case you guys want to call in because I haven't spoken to some of you guys in a while. But like I said, man, I don't have so much information to provide. Unfortunately, with me not doing this, hold on, let me make sure you guys can hear me because father-in-law Leonard told me something was wrong, but I think it's just because I hadn't started the show yet. But if you guys can confirm that. But yeah, man, I don't do this for a living in terms of it being my day-to-day, so I'm not in the weeds and the thick of it, like Steelers Depot. Shout outs to them. Those guys do so much, provide so much content, provide material for me to talk about. I wish I could do it on that level. If I could do this for a living, it would be great. But since I don't, I can only talk about some of the high-level topics. And like I said, this is a slow time for us. There's no football, no season. Free agency hasn't even kicked off. So, I'm really just pulling at straws, trying to find stuff to at least have us come and chill every week. But let's get into it. Okay, great. You guys can hear me. Let's get into it, man. Let's say hello to the early commenters, and then I'm going to jump right into it. 412 born and raised. Hello, Miss Lanisha. Always got to say hello to our lovely ladies in the chat, so make sure you guys do that as well. Say hello to Lanisha and whoever else, whichever the other ladies that may come in tonight as well. Make sure you take time to say hello to them. My man Y Diggy, my man Brent Fox, Brian, Dan, Matt, Trey, father-in-law Leonard. Who else in here? Who else we got? Hey, Mark Malone. He says, yeah, cornerback, D-line, I can see it happening. Yeah, man. That's really why I'm going to stick right into that one topic of the cornerback position. Who else? Good brother Kenyon in the building, of course. Steelers cards. Mr. Winningham, how you doing tonight, sir? How you doing? Leonard Green. Who else? Steelers cards. Charlie Brown. Hello, Miss Debbie. Look, I finally catch Debbie before I get started. A lot of times I'm saying hello to Debbie like after the fact because I didn't see her in the beginning. But hey, Debbie, what is going on? Special shallow. Special shallow. Mixing words together. Special hello and shout outs to Deb as well as Lanisha. Again, our lovely ladies in the chat, man. So hello to you lovely ladies. Eric McDuffie. Who else? Reginald Rivers. And I guess we'll end it right about there. James Tresvon as well. Kev So Fun. What's going on? He just popped in. So look, I'll get one little side piece of information out of the way before I dive into the cornerback. We now know that John Mitchell announced his retirement. For you guys that don't know who John Mitchell is, I'm going to leave it like that. That's a little pop quiz for Steelers Nation. See if you guys know who John Mitchell was and what he's most famous for, that most of us probably knew him for. He was still on the staff at a different capacity for the last few years, but now he's officially retired. So I definitely want to pay homage to him. And give me just a second, man. I'm gonna give him a proper hello or send off or congratulations. If I get all my stuff up here. And I apologize, guys, for being a little off tonight, man. Late. Got off to a late start this evening. Normally I'm here at 7:30, but I told you guys, if you don't hear from me on Twitter, the show is still happening. I may just be running a little bit late. I do apologize for that. But round of applause, man. Let's give a round of applause for an excellent and wonderful and appreciative career that we had with John Mitchell. D-Mac, no. Not yet, but coincidentally, maybe some of you guys care, maybe some of you guys don't. My wife and I, and took my mother-in-law with me as well. We went to see the house today, the current state that it's in. They're moving right along, man. They still have a settlement date for us on April 14th. I'm hoping it gets it a little earlier, but it's moving right along, man. Today, so far, the drywall is up. They were putting the siding on the house today. Roof, all of that is up. Second coat of paint was up, so we got a nice walk through there. Still many things left to do as far as the inside stuff and things of that nature, but it's coming right along. I appreciate you asking that. And as you can tell, and this is going to be the key. We'll see if you guys can see it. See this chair that I'm sitting in? This is my mother-in-law's chair. I'm sitting at a desk here in our little quarters in the basement. It's not a gaming chair nor an office chair. It's a regular chair, nice decorative chair. But that'll be the hint for you guys. When you see me back in a chair, an actual chair like a gaming chair or / office chair, you'll know I'm back in my environment, or the new environment, if you will. So there you have it. Let's get right into it, man. So yeah, shout outs to John Mitchell. There's a couple other little small things I wanted to talk about, man. Again, in full transparency, getting some information from Steelers Depot. And they kind of talked about a couple contracts that you might want to pay attention to. And we actually talked about it, myself and Kenya, last week, man, on the still table. Terrell Edmonds. I'll just stick with Terrell Edmonds because they mentioned also a guy like Jack Gentry. But I'm going to stick right with Terrell Edmonds, man, because I did see another post from someone else out there in the media that was saying that safety is a sneaky position of need. Again, myself and Kenyon went over that as well last week on the our still table. Listen, man, I don't know if you guys hate him, love him, care less about him, whatever. Terrell Edmonds is a guy that I definitely think the Steelers need to re-sign. And what they were outlining on Steelers Depot was kind of trying to say, signing him to a 4-year deal at basically his market value, where it would pay him, I think it was either slightly less or right about where he's at this past year on the 1-year deal. And it might be a worthy option. Listen, Terrell Edmonds did play better. I think he played some of his best ball in 2022. However, we're back in the same place we were last year with him. His value is good with the Steelers. Has he played, outplayed his value, or has he played his value up for an outside organization? That we don't know. I think he's going to be in that same situation where, remember last year, he went in free agency, allowed him to test his market. Market really wasn't much. He decided his best option was to come back to Pittsburgh. I think he's in that exact same situation. Terrell Edmonds is a solid, and again, I'm saying solid. Y'all can disagree. That's fine. But I say he's a solid piece of what we are doing currently with our defense. He's not a ball hawk, but Terrell Edmonds has improved his PBU, and he definitely has provided a lot for the Steelers in terms of the run game. Terrell Edmonds has tackles for loss. A lot of times we creep him up to the line of scrimmage. If you was watching the games this year, there were quite a few times when we knew runs were coming. We got Terrell Edmonds right there, playing like a sort of like a linebacker, if you will, but more up on the line. And he's shooting in, making tackles. So, listen, if you can get him back, if they can get KZ back, which might be a little bit easier because KZ, again, remember he was injured, came back late. They can kind of play that song and dance with him again. Like, look, let's kind of go with the same deal we gave you last year. His market value hasn't gone up. If you can get him and KZ back along with Minka, I like what that looks like, at least for 2023. You always want to look and see what you could do in the future. Obviously, you're always looking for, when is it a time that we need to start looking for the next solidified guy in a position? But if we're talking 2023, maybe 4 and 5, maybe the next 2 to 3 years, I like that trio of Minka, KZ, and Edmonds. However, if you don't pull off Edmonds, then again, I said it last week, safety is a position we need to keep an eye on. And, Kenyon definitely mentioned it too. Kenyon was kind of saying, it might not be round one, but if we don't get a deal done, we might be looking. Because again, I think right now Trey Norwood's contribution is not the same as a Terrell Edmonds. Trey Norwood, I think Norwood is still kind of the Swiss Army knife, but I think he's more suited, playing back. For instance, if they don't get KZ back and they get Edmonds back, I think you're going to see more. If we go with the 3 safety looks, or even in dime, I think you're going to see more of Trey Norwood, playing deep, not more so around the box. Where KZ, I think they could have did either one, and you saw how comfortable they were sometimes putting KZ in the middle of the field when he came back, and that was a different look. Dropping Minka a little bit lower and dropping Edmonds at the same time, that was an interesting look. So I would love to get that complement of players back, man. Again, hate it or love him, it's up to you guys. I feel like Edmonds is solid in what we ask him to do in the Steelers defense. I'm not looking for him to be a ball hawk. I'm looking for Terrell Edmonds to play like he did last year. If he could do that and increasingly get a slight bit better, I'm happy with that. All right, but let's get to the topic at hand. And like I said, after that, man, I'm really just going to turn it over to you guys in the chat and or phone calls if we get any. Expedited show. Like I said, these shows are going to be a lot shorter, and I think you guys, we all understand that it's not a whole lot for us to talk about, but I always want to at least come here and kick it with you guys, man, even during the slow period. And I appreciate y'all coming and checking me out. I really appreciate that. And like I said, man, once free agency hits, we'll have a little more to talk about, and then we know that period is going to get a little slow again. Then when the draft hits, we got more to talk about. But I think actually during that free agency period, I'll take that back. Once free agency hits and during that first week or two, it is going to give us more to talk about, because then we really can start honing in. Okay, I see what the Steelers did free agency wise. Now this is what they're probably going to do in the draft. So that part is going to be interesting. But y'all know after the draft, it's going to slow back down again. But just bear with me, man. We'll have as much fun as we can together. Cornerback. I like what Big Noriega is saying here. He says, I like to draft 2 cornerbacks in the draft: Gonzalez, Forbes, Porter, and Clark Phillips. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I wouldn't be opposed to the Steelers going early, and I'm talking within the first 3 picks, maybe within the first 1 or 2. I wouldn't be opposed to them doing that, as well as coming back and getting a corner later. Because sometimes you can find, serviceable, solid, even good players later rounds, right? I mean, we've seen it. Sometimes you get these dudes who are undrafted, but I would like to see them take a chance at the prospects, the guys who are expected to go in the rounds. I would not be mad if they double dipped. And we really need to really consider the Steelers possibly going corner in the first. And let me explain to you why. Again, shout outs to Steelers Depot, man. They posted some information earlier today saying how, some people have been asking for maybe the Steelers would do a transition tag. And I'll be the first to admit, I don't always know what all of those things mean as far as the transition tag. Actually, let me pull up a little piece of it for you. Give me a second, because I know some of you guys like to hear the actual data. Give me a second. I thought I had that tab already open, but I must have closed it. Give me a second, guys. I'll hook y'all up. Just a second. But the transition tag is different than that of a franchise tag. I will explain it to you here in just a moment. Some of you guys may already know, but I'm going to do my due diligence, even if I have to do it here on the fly. But that's what y'all appreciate, right? Y'all like how real I get. I'm not even afraid, I'm no shame in my game showing y'all how it goes down in real time. So basically what they're saying here It says for starters, the annual NFL tagging period opened on Tuesday and until 4 p.m. New York time on March 7th. Clubs may now designate franchise or transition tags. The tag amounts of both kinds are listed below. It says here the transition tag, which is based on the NFL salary cap number for the upcoming season, is a 1-year tender offer of the average of the top 10 salaries at each position, as opposed to the top 5 for the franchise tag. So monetarily, that's a big difference. So let me say that again and kind of sum it up. What it is it's a 1-year tender offer, an average of the top 10 players for said position. The transition tag guarantees the original club the right of the first refusal to match any offer the player might receive from another club once the free agency signing period starts. It says should a team fail to match an offer sheet from another team signed by a transition tag player, that team isn't awarded any compensation for losing said player. So getting to the nitty gritty, basically it says after you cut through all of the tape, and again, I encourage you guys to listen and not only listen to the podcast, but read the articles at Steelers Depot. Because again, I'm not ashamed to give people the credit they deserve. I've continued to say these guys are they're the best in the business in my opinion. They go the extra mile. They're hardcore fans like us, but they're fair and they try to get everything right. And if you know Dave Bryan is big on accuracy. He takes shots at these other pundits all the time. But these guys, excuse me, they do everything from going to Senior Bowls, going to all of the events that they can get to, and the Shrine Bowl and all of that. And they do anything from covering the team to salary cap. I mean, they go way up and down the spectrum. But I say all that to say, because right now Dave is actually estimating that as of today, and again, don't panic. This happens all the time. But as of today, he says the Steelers are currently $524,852 over the projected cap amount. So, of course, they got to do some things to get under that. Like I said, this is not abnormal. They're going to do restructures. They're going to cut. All sorts of things are going to happen to get them the money that they need. And I'm sure a lot of this stuff is going to happen before free agency. So, however, let's get to the real nitty gritty. They said that right now, excuse me, guys, get a sip of water here in a moment. Right now, if they were to put the transition tag on Cam Sutton, it would be $15,791,000. There lies the problem. It's hard for me to say what a player is worth and not worth. My question would be, do the Steelers believe that Cam Sutton is worth $15 million? Now, this is assuming that they can't get a deal done. But again, if any smart agent will understand, agents understand the market. And I see people all the time say, man, I don't understand how this guy got this much money, yada, 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 yada. It's a market thing. Agents understand that, so they know how to play the field. Whether you think Cam Sutton is worth X amount really doesn't matter. It's what the market is currently doing, and has he played up to the level of other guys in the market? So if the agent knows the transition tag amount is 15 something, where do you think they're going to start negotiating the contract? Now, will they get a long-term deal done with Cam Sutton? Maybe. A couple things that you have at your disposal is we drafted Cam, we got another deal done with Cam, the 2-year deal, and maybe he's comfortable in Pittsburgh, but you just never know. He could be at a point where he's a little older. He wants to go get the bread. And I just don't know if the Steelers valued it. I don't know. They still got Levi Wallace that they gave some money to last year. He's still under contract. But here's where it gets tricky. Steelers are really not super deep at corner. James Pierre is a free agent. To be honest, I'm not quite sure what what's his name? I'm not sure what Akello Witherspoon's contract looks like. But again, this is a guy that was injured most of the year last year. We don't have a lot of cornerbacks that we can turn to. You understand what I'm saying? So this is going to be interesting. This is going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. But again, this is the reason why I say cornerback in the first round is not out of the question. It is possible. It's very possible because this is a very, very important position of need right now. Again, remember what I said. The offensive line started improving. I might even say they started to peak the last 4 to 5 games of the season. The Steelers may not think they have to go I keep saying the wrong position. They may not think they have to go offensive line first. Because remember, we have, if I'm not mistaken, if I got all of my math correct, I think we have 3 picks in the top 50. They might feel like, hey, we can come back and get an offensive lineman at 32. Or an offensive lineman in the second round with our original second round pick. So if the talented corner is there, and they're not reaching like they did with Artie Burns, I think it's very possible they go corner. It's possible. It is a very, very, very big possibility in my opinion. And I see guys are saying Marlette, and guys like Marlette, no disrespect to him, man, but I'm talking about, when I'm talking corner, I mean, even though Cam, we all preferred to see him in the slot. That's when I think he was his best. Played well outside last year. Not great, but he played very good last year on the outside. But when I'm talking cornerback, I'm really talking about, more importantly, I'm talking about an outside guy. I'm not really talking about a slot guy. So, yeah, man, it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very, very, very interesting. So that's just my 2 cents on it, man. Like I said, I think that is a top position of need that maybe some of us are overlooking. And then I'm going to come here to the phone calls really quick. But before I do that, let me just read to you really quick, guys. You know, again, we went over this last week, but you know, now I'm looking at PFF, the free agent corners. You know, the first one is Jamel Dean from Tampa Bay. He's rated number 1 by PFF. And again, however you feel about PFF, I'm just giving you the numbers. Number 2 is James Bradbury. And I know a lot of people have a bad taste in their mouth for, you know, kind of saying what happened in the Super Bowl, but let's not act like that. Bradbury played really good with Philly, whether it was scheme, whether it was because he had Slay on the other end, it doesn't matter. I will just say he had a great year with Philly. Number 3 on the list is Cam Sutton. They ranking him number 3. You got Jonathan Jones from New England, Patrick Peterson, no thanks. No disrespect to him, I'm just saying. They have Rock El-Sin at number 6. And I also saw an article today saying that would be a great landing spot. The Steelers would be a great landing spot for him. We'll see. And honestly, man, listen, I haven't really paid much attention to Rock El-Sin since we kind of looked at him coming out of school. So I don't know what he has done and has not done in the NFL. But, you know, some people are saying the Steelers would be a good landing spot for him. I don't know. I'd have to really go look at, you know, the Colts tape and the Raiders tape and things like that to see. You know, I just have to see. Byron Murphy from Arizona is number 7. Marcus Peters, number 8. I know some people say, nope, forget about that as far as the Steelers. And that's about all I have there as far as the top guys. We'll leave it at that. But those are really the top guys. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other guys, man, that are available. But the question is really going to be, will the Steelers go look for help in free agency? Will the Steelers sign their own free agent in Cam Sutton? And that's going to tell us a lot. I think if they don't get a deal done with Cam, they don't make a move in free agency as far as a corner that you think is going to be your starter, I'm well aware and well on board that they could very well draft a corner in the first round. And I know some of y'all are scared of that, saying they don't do well with draft. Man, listen, man, you can't play that type of game. You can't. We're not in the business of playing that type of game. So there you have it. Those are my thoughts. So like I said, man, I'll open up here for the phone calls, and pretty much after that, man, we'll just read some comments and we'll get out of here, man. I told you guys, more of a condensed type of format now, until we get some real meat and potatoes to talk about. So first in the queue, we have area code 803. How's it going? What you got for us?
Good evening, everyone. I hope everybody's having a great week so far, and as we go into this week. Shout out to John Mitchell. I'm very happy, for his retirement. He was there for Bill Cowher for 29 years. A man who coached in Super Bowl 30. A man who broke the racial barriers at the University of Alabama. So, anybody going into the history of John Mitchell, this thing is more than just a coach. Getting into that, for selfish reasons, I'm sad to see that Brian Flores had left, but because he left, if he would have stayed another year, we had probably gotten another draft pick somewhere in there. Because, the situation of, I guess, how he was, let go and we hired him. But he took a job, to me, he took the job too early because there were several jobs, had he waited, he could have been in a better situation like Philadelphia Eagles. Or we could have made him, easily transition him to the opening that we have as the assistant head coach now. So for selfish reasons, those are the reasons why I wish he would have taken time and not take the first train out of town. I know we're early in the process of free agency and thinking about draft picks and all. Not only that we have to clear cap room, everybody still got to understand we got to have at least $10 million of operating money throughout the season. So you got to take all that in concern. But one question I have to ask you, does Caleb Witherspoon sometimes struggles and stuff like that? Does that kind of discourage you or a guy like Kenyon in possibly for us to draft Devon Witherspoon? His brother plays cornerback for Illinois, very highly thought of as being a first-round draft pick. Thank you so much. Everybody have a great evening and a great week ahead.
Man, Mr. Winningham, you ended with a phenomenal question there. Wow. I'm going to try to speak with my head and not my heart. I'll give the heart answer first. I think we all, as human beings, would say, his brother won't really it. He ain't going to be it. However, if I'm using my head, I would say that doesn't discourage me. It doesn't. We've seen situations, man, where one brother's great, one brother's not. I mean, we've seen that all over sports. We've seen it in the NBA, the NFL. You know what I mean? So I don't think it would really keep me from giving the kid a try. I mean, if he's good, then he's good. It just is what it is. However, I think, naturally everybody's going to tense up and say, not another Witherspoon. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, that wouldn't discourage me. You make a great point by Flores, so I definitely want to comment on that. Maybe he did take a job too early. He's going to be the D coordinator. And, I see people in the chat saying, why didn't the Steelers keep him and this and that? I think you guys forget, man, it's always a two-way street in the business of the NFL. And that's the same even with trades. I kept seeing people, even, my father-in-law Leonard would say, why didn't we get Roquan Smith? And I'm like, you got to remember, at the time when that trade happened, the Steelers were in the bottom of the bottom. And so were the Bears. And I'm sure Roquan and his agent said, I want to go to a team that fits and I have a chance to win. I don't see no reason why they would have chosen Pittsburgh. So that's on them. You know what I'm saying? So you got to look at those things as well as compensation, all of that stuff. It's not always 1-to-1 to say, oh man, they didn't give up nothing for him. Yeah, but in that scenario, when the player is, remember, he forced a trade. So he's going to go to a team that he prefers to go to. So it's the same thing with the coaching thing. If Flores wanted to take that opportunity, he took it. You can't say what the Steelers should have did this, the Steelers should have did that. I mean, he was, a linebacker coach and an assistant at the same time with us. And shout out to Mike Tomlin, man. I'm going to throw a round of applause real quick, and then I'm going to get to the last caller. I'm going to shout out Mike Tomlin because Mike Tomlin took a chance, and he took an obvious chance and wasn't afraid to do it. He said as much, even publicly. If you listen to enough interviews and if you caught him on certain podcasts and things like that, he said as much. He understood what was happening with Brian Flores. That's number one. But number two, he still made a coaching decision. It wasn't like he was just running to, the super saver guy. No. He was able to do two things. Bring in a great coach and also provide this brother with an opportunity that he deserved to have during the time when he was nobody wanted to touch him. And Tomlin even said that he knew the opportunity was going to come for him to get another opportunity elsewhere, whether it was coordinator or head coach. And that's basically, he understood that when he brought him in. So I got to applaud that. And I'm however you guys feel about it, we can agree to disagree, but I applaud that. Also, some people are saying, why didn't they make him the defensive coordinator? Well, I mean, listen, again, you got to look at this situation. It's not like the Steelers defense was horrible. I'm just being honest. I don't think Terrell Austin's performance as the defensive coordinator warranted a firing. The defense really kept us in the game. One of his specialties is secondary, right? We led the league in interceptions. So I get it. When people are saying, oh, man, we should have made him. I get it. But where was the glaring need to replace Terrell Austin? Again, I'm not saying Terrell Austin's perfect. I'm just saying there's always an answer to, we should have did this. Yeah, I get that. But, where's the evidence? So, but yeah, I just thought I'd go off course slightly there, off of my good buddy, Mr. Winningham's comments. Appreciate that. What? Somebody said Shador Sanders. Oh, y'all in there talking about Kenny. I'm going to dive in the comments here, man, after the next call here. Area code 651. What you got for us?
What's up, Sam?
What's going on, man?
Not much, man. The one thing I want to say about what we see with this dude not GM, but assistant GM is that Will likes to build. If I'm saying his name right, I'm not even sure I'm doing that right, but Will likes to draft from the line out. He's going to get his offensive lineman and his defensive lineman probably every season. And so I feel like in our top three picks would be corner, offensive line, or defensive line. Now, I don't know what order they're coming in, but I feel like if Witherspoon or Gonzalez there, we have to go early. We got to go corner early. I mean, and I'm not even going off the principle of, we don't draft corners well. It's just those guys are players. Like, we can do something with it at 17. Past that, who knows? Who knows what you're dealing with? So, also, I agree with you about the coordinators. Like, this man led the league in picks. I don't know what else you want him to do. The defense showed up without the TJ Watt. Like, I don't know what else you want. So you can't just trade it because of the name. You can't say, I'm going to get Flores because I heard what he can do or he may be better. This man is actually running a great defense, so I'm going to go with what's already there. Other thing is linebacker, man. I just been kind of puzzled about it, and I was wondering, what do you think about Taven Collins with the Cardinals? Being that all this mix-up that's going on, you think they want to maybe trade him? Young guy, he got size, he can run. He's still really young, so I would love to get him on the team if we could. Otherwise, Edmonds, which I don't know if he'll have the money to do it, but it would give us that space. We pretty much filled everything up, and I guess we'll know about this situation, the closer we get to the draft. But that's all I got. Appreciate it.
Man, great call. Appreciate that. Excellent points. Wow. Zaven Collins. If you guys remember a few years back, me and Kenyon was heavy on him. Tony was heavy on him too. And see, that's the thing, man. I appreciate you saying that 651, and I'll stay right there because those are the things I think sometimes we forget as fans, right? We kind of forget, and it looks like we don't have any more calls, so I can take this off. We kind of forget some of the other nuances and things that happens, right? That could dictate the roster. Dudes asking to be traded, or dudes coming available in free agency, or some of these dudes are guys that the Steelers once brought in for a pre-draft visit. And Zaven Collins, just his physical, attributes. Oh yeah, I would love to see what he could do. Again, he's another guy that I could honestly say I haven't watched a lot of his tape in the NFL, so I don't really know what he's done in the NFL, honestly. But I'm just remembering how much I was on him coming out. And that's why I always say, man, before I really dive in to who I think the Steelers or what positions I think they approach in the draft, I always wait until I see the first week or two of free agency to see, like last year, see how we struck quick last year. If we do that again, then it's going to show me. It's going to show me a lot as far as where their head is at. And then I can kind of start, looking at the scope and say, all right, they might do this, they might do that. But very interesting. That's another position that we're not thinking about. And, we talked about it last week, myself and Kenyon. The inside linebacker position, man, it's a little weak in terms of what could be. You even got dudes like Spillane as a free agent. You got guys like Devin Bush that, clearly seems like he's not going to be back. I mean, you have guys like Jack that they may be forced to keep. They may be forced to keep, Miles Jack. And regardless of what some people feel about him, I'm just thinking about it from a cap standpoint. We locked into those 2 years. Let's say you don't bring him back. Who else do you bring in to fill that void? I know people are saying give Mark Robinson a chance. I think Mark Robinson is still a work in progress. Clearly he's a see it and go get it type of guy, downhill player, but as an overall middle linebacker or inside linebacker, if you call it in 3-4, just saying, he has a long ways to go. He needs somebody else beside him that can get him going. We need the Shazier, Vince Williams type of combination if we're going to have a guy like Robinson out there. So this is interesting, man. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah, and I see somebody saying, let Spillane go. He's too slow. I get it, D-Mac, but I'm telling you, it don't work like that. I know, like Kenyon says it a lot. This is not Madden, right? Where you could just get rid of everybody. And, like, some of these positions are not easily replaceable, which is the reason why out of 32 teams, there's always weak spots somewhere. Or, when you get lucky enough, you have a team like the Eagles, which, by the way, lost the Super Bowl. But you have a team like that that's pretty deep at every position. Every now and then that happens. Or, if you're lucky, you get a team sort of like Kansas City. Kansas City has Patrick Mahomes, and I kept telling everybody, look, I think the Eagles are the better team, but you cannot count out my boy Mahomes. But the point I was going to make, they don't have an exceptional defense, but they have one heck of a player and a Chris Jones on leading that front line along with others, Frank Clarks and guys like that. But then they got this one special linebacker. Yeah, I'm saying special. In Bolton, which is another guy Kenyon and myself looked at in college and thought he could land with the Steelers. Nick Bolton is balling. Now, you might not say that he's this Shazier-like, but that boy is around the ball every time. He had over 100 and something tackles. I mean, he makes plays. He makes the, what Tomlin say? He makes the routine play routinely and then gives you a little bit of splash. And then, you know, they got a guy or two on the back end. So it's not like they're, in my opinion, their defense is super deep, but they just got guys. A couple guys here, a couple guys there, and then they got that dynamic offense. So, again, man, Spillane played solid last year. I'm going to say it. And y'all know I was really on his case early in the year about him in coverage, and it's evident. But I think Spillane has a place. You know, I think if you have a 3-man rotation like we always try to keep at inside linebacker, then I'm cool with Spillane being on the roster. Spillane he's solid, in my opinion. He's a solid, he's what we thought Dirty Red could have been. You know, coming out of Temple with all those tackles, yada, yada, yada. Spillane is doing that. He's a solid guy that can either be your backup or he could give you significant snaps and rundowns. Now, you might want to get a better athlete out there in coverage, even though he's smart. He's just, he just can't keep up. So I'm not going to talk down and talk bad on Spillane. That's just my opinion. Very solid. Very solid. But like I said, D-Mac, and again, I wasn't accusing you of that. I'm just saying, using that analogy, when we say it's not Madden, you just can't plug and play all the time or remove this guy, get rid of everybody, go get that guy. It don't work like that. Sometimes you're in a situation where you have to work with what you have. And that's just the facts of it. But all right, guys, I don't really have nothing else, man. I'll spend 2, 3, 4 minutes or so in here with you guys to see what y'all got. Fire away, whatever comments y'all want me to see, reply to, and then we'll get out of here. I saw some of y'all going back and forth about Kenny again, man. Kenny is a rookie. He got his rookie season out of the way. I know you guys saying you have these concerns and that concern, but look, man, I just don't expect so much out of a rookie quarterback. I mean, let's see what he becomes. You know, to me, there was no surefire answer last season. Because remember, some people said, oh, well, don't draft the quarterback and just go with Trubisky. And then y'all were killing Trubisky as he started playing bad. And you didn't want Rudolph on the field. I mean, sometimes fans, you guys, you're never pleased by whatever decision is made. So I don't know. I just think y'all a little too tough on Kenny Pickett, man, given that situation and being thrown in there and really just learning on the fly. I see it differently. I view Kenny Pickett as having potential. I saw a lot of good things out of Kenny Pickett, especially down the stretch. I understand he had a lot of interceptions early, but didn't turn the ball over later. I understand there wasn't a whole lot of touchdowns, but I also understand the play calling has something to do with that and how conservative we were playing. I get all of that. Like, I look at all of that. Again, I'm not just a highlight watcher. I don't just go off of stats. Same way how people are saying Deontay Johnson sucks. Yeah, I saw people say that because he didn't have any touchdowns in 2022. They didn't look at the whole reason why. In no way, shape, or form does Deontay Johnson suck. Deontay Johnson is, yes, I'm going to say it, even with a couple times of him dropping the ball, he's one of the best receivers in the NFL. He is. The way that boy gets open and creates such a separation, there's not many receivers in the league doing it to that level. You know, it might be 10, maybe, and that might be too many. I mean, you got to throw some dogs in there. You know, obviously Jamar Chase, obviously dudes like Justin Jefferson. You know, you got to throw them dudes in there. I'm talking about just the overall. I ain't just talking about the big play guy that can run the fly. No. Deontay Johnson creates space. Boy's a dog. He's nice. Has he had some drops at times? Sure. But Deontay Johnson is a real problem, especially when he's on his game and he's concentrating. So just because that man didn't have no touchdowns, y'all are not gonna convince me that he's sorry. And yeah, like D-Mac just said, and that boy George Pickens is gonna be a real problem. Oh, somebody else said in the comments earlier that I hear rumors about the Steelers possibly trading for Mike Evans. Have not heard that. I will honestly say I would not agree with that whatsoever. That if we're trading for anything, no. Why trade for Mike Evans? So I hope that's not something. I hope it is literally just a rumor. I don't see why you do that. I really don't. If anything, you're gonna allow Deontay to be what he is. You paid him, and you're gonna bring George Pickens up. That's your 1-1-2. Then you're gonna see what you have in the slot. With a Calvin Austin, or they'll draft somebody or a free agent. But yeah, Mike Evans, nah, fam, nah. All right, let me get to a few comments, man. Then I'm gonna get out of here. Debbie says those are the highlight watchers or sports media followers, people who really see what is going on during the game, knows what's up with Deontay. Absolutely, Debbie. I couldn't agree with you more. Steelers card says they could draft someone to bring in competition for more. He's not a guaranteed left tackle spot. Yeah, I'm with you. I wouldn't be mad at that either. Not at all. I would not be mad at that at all. D-Max says Johnson has to lead and not drop balls to lead, so Pickens respects him. Okay. I mean, we speculating. I think Pickens respects everybody on the team. Listen, Pickens is a phenomenal receiver that does phenomenal things. I can promise you, I'm gonna speak in educated speculation when I say I can promise you George Pickens respects what Deontay Johnson is able to do on the field as a receiver. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that. Now, I like this what Kenyon is saying. Pickens is a number 1 receiver. Deontay is a number 2 receiver. Yeah, I could go along with that. But the funny thing is, I could guarantee you that most don't understand what Kenyon is saying when he says that. That's a little riddle. But I could almost guarantee you that most don't understand what he means by that and why he's saying which one is 1 and which one is 2. Christian Gonzalez is a CB number 1. Yeah, that boy's tough. I gotta watch some more film on him, but yeah. Kenya says, focusing on Dan Moore instead of Dotson tells me you weren't really watching the Steelers. Y'all know Kenya gonna get y'all, man, in the chat. He ready to strike. Kenyon invites the confrontation. It's funny. That's one of those. That's one of them Aries guy traits that we don't mind that. I just don't do it so much on the show because I'm obviously delivering content to you guys that I don't have time to just keep going back. But see, y'all got Kenyon that's in the chat. He's there for that. Oh man. Let's see. Big Noriega says we should draft offensive tackle Cody Mauch, if I'm saying that correctly, because he's really a center and guard. That's where he dominates. Okay, I'm not familiar with him. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, man. And Kenyon to tell you, I don't. When it comes to the college players, I know a lot of the guys from games that I watched, but I don't really be knowing these dudes heavy until right around this time. Because Kenyon is, again, the resident scout. He's sending lists of guys. Now is when I really go in and start watching people. And for you guys that have been watching me for years, y'all know that's usually the time where I can come back and say, yeah, I like this guy, I like that guy, I don't like him. This would be good, this won't. So right around now, you'll hear me a lot say, I ain't really familiar with that guy. And I'm just being honest. And look at this. We had 51 minutes, and I said it probably wouldn't go an hour. So that's funny how we do that. A couple more minutes, man. Joshua Shields is replying to Debbie. He says, blessed and highly favored. Yes, I heard about the rumor. That just doesn't make sense to me. What about yourself? Okay, I think y'all are talking about The Mike Evans rumor. Yeah. Debbie's saying that. Debbie also says, glad that Khan is leaving no stones unturned, being the only NFL GM at the HBCU combine. That's dope. I knew about that, but I'm glad Debbie brought that up. Following the great Bill Nunn footsteps, and you know what happened there. Yeah, man, for you guys that don't know, the HBCU, NFL held a combine for them a day or two ago, or maybe over the weekend. And there's apparently one of the edge rushers that, perked up. Names popping up as a running back out there too. There's a couple guys that, they were saying that were getting a little bit of little headway there, but they were saying it was an edge from one of the schools that the Steelers could be interested in. So that's cool. And again, we heard the rumor that apparently the Steelers' approach is going to be different to the draft. So I'm curious to see how this year goes. We'll see. Oh, they said Kenyon quote Nas. That's what's up. Hold on, let me find it. Oh, embrace y'all like napalm. Kenyon told y'all he in the music business, man. Y'all ain't believe him though. More on the R&B side, but come on, R&B and hip hop is like joined at the hip. And I'll just say this much, because y'all know, my brother Kenyon know I don't spill his information, but I'll at least let y'all know this. Not only is Kenyon in the music business and still dabbles, he comes from famous lineage. So I'll leave it at that. What else y'all got? Slippy Boy says, bro, PFF is exposing folks that don't know what they're looking at. They just regurgitating what they hear from talking heads. Not PFF, and he said not PFF is their king. Is this your king? Yeah, I don't know what you talking about. I don't know who that comment is directed towards. I have no idea. I know I referenced the free agents from their list, but I don't know. Again, I don't know if you're talking to me or not, but everybody knows, most of y'all know, I don't put my stock and stake in any of those, like Pro Football Focus, any of them, because especially during the year, it'd be some bonehead stuff that they be talking about. So for the record, I was just reading the names of the free agents and the way they ranked them. No correlation of where I rank these guys. I'm really just giving a list. But like I said, I don't know. You might not even be talking to me, so I don't know. Let's see. Why Diggy? I know that's not Steelers related, but if you know, you know. He says, I'm going to say Takeover over Ether. I would say that too all day long. And let me let y'all know that I'm both a Nas and Jay-Z fan. Both of those guys are tops of my list. But again, speaking from artist brain, again, artist. I'm an artist. Takeover was a much better song. Ether was funny. Takeover had facts. Ether was funny. And it hit. So Ether was more of a street classic. It hit with punch from the beat to how you started. But Takeover was a better record. Hands down. I'm seeing Kenya disagrees, but Kenya probably will understand where I'm coming from when I said I'm thinking with this from an artist standpoint. We just talk about this record. Ether hit harder. Ether hit harder, like I said, in the streets. It hit harder because that was a diss track. Takeover was a album cut with disses in it. It was a real song. So, yeah, and why Diggy is right. It stung him because when you come back with Super Ugly after Ether, that lets you know that button was pushed. But I'll leave it at that. We're not talking music tonight. All right, man, I'll take one more Steelers comment, and then I'm out of here. Oh, no problem, Sippy boy. Yeah, like I said, I never know if it's at me. I just respond. Like I don't take any of it, and you're my man anyway.
90 seconds.
Oh, Blog Talk is cutting us off, so let me hang that up. So 803 and 651. I'm closing down the Blog Talk. Appreciate you gentlemen calling in. And we're about to wrap the show up here. One more Steelers comment, man. Can I get one more? Yeah, the track on Ether was, that beat was hard. Says Lil Wayne is the GOAT. Okay. Hey, listen, music is subjective, man. Sippy boy quoting a nice Jay-Z line there. Can I get one more Steelers? There we go. Y Diggy says, yeah, and I think the caller said he didn't know how to pronounce it. Me either. I think it's Weedle or Wydell. I'm not sure, but he said Weld. It could be any of that. He says, Waddell, I'm going to just say Waddell. Waddell is a wild card in the draft process. Fully agree with that. He is a wild card. And let me end it with this because Debbie asked a question. She says, Kenyon and Sim, when do we get the music podcast? You know what's funny, man? It's so many other podcasts that I probably should be doing. One of them I'm not gonna say the name because I'm just not gonna put it out there in case we make it happen. But there's a podcast that I should be doing with my brother-in-law, my wife's brother. That would be, I'm telling you, and I don't even usually talk about stuff on my own, but I'm telling you, if we were to do it, it would be a masterpiece. I know it. I just don't know if I have time to do it. And then also, it would be dope to have a show like that with Kenya. But I just, you know what I mean? I don't have the capacity to do it. Maybe one day. But yeah, I'm going to get out of here. But of course, man, I hope everybody has a great remainder of the week. I wish I could tell y'all to enjoy some football. This time of the year is rough. I don't know if you guys are watching XFL. I didn't get any chance to see any of it this week. I heard that some former Steelers out there. I think Eli Rogers and Sean Davis, was playing against each other or something like that. I seen the quarterback from the Cowboys, Ben DiNucci, I think his name. He was just in the league like a year or so ago. So I mean, if you can enjoy that, maybe I'll watch it. It's just not the same. It ain't the Steelers. It ain't the NFL. It's just not the same. But hopefully you guys find a way to enjoy these sports. I'm really watching some basketball right now, seeing that my Sixers are looking good, but I still just don't have any real confidence in them as far as championship aspirations. But I'm gonna root for them. But other than that, man, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Stay blessed. Stay safe. Remind you to do this. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, turn on those notifications. Yeah, man, I'll catch you guys in the next one. So until the next time, thank you for tuning in to Terrible Towel Tuesday. See you guys next week. Peace.